since we're opening this can of worms, let's talk about this for just one quick second. I know a guy, and he's separated from his wife, and his kids are in Israel, and his daughter's bat mitzvah is coming up, and it looks like that the judge is going to actually order the kids to stay in Israel, and so in Israel you can't enter the country unless you have a vaccine. So what does that guy do? The choice is, and he's just mega opposed to the vaccine. His grandparents were, captured by the Nazis. Like, he has a history with this, forced medical procedures, etc. He was faced with get the vaccine and see his kids, or don't get the vaccine and maybe never see his kids again. That is a extremely difficult situation to be put in if you believe if you're very adamantly opposed to the vaccines and the mandates. And I don't think any of us would argue here that this guy should never see his kids again, right? So what that clearly lays out for us is that it is a personal decision about this, and it's a spectrum. And so I don't fault the guy for getting the vaccine to go see his kids. It broke his heart. Like, it tore him up because he didn't want to do it, because he was opposed to it and he hated it. But they put him in a situation where it was like, see the kids, or don't get the vaccine. Can't
but
see the kids.
That's how they win. And this is the big challenge. The logic of it is simple. Go for someone's children, and you will have a slave. They win.
Yeah.
As long as people.
But there's no escaping it. There's that guy.
There's multiple options. There's multiple ways of trying to go through the system. With the system not looking, I'm not advocating for any illegal activities, but if there's a will, there's a way. Compliance isn't the easiest way. It's going to be the easiest way for the moment, but in the long term, it's going to be the most difficult way for everyone else, including that person who, compromised his morals to comply with the state. So there's many different ways around a different issue.
Compromise one element of his morals to honor the rest of his morals.
I don't. Again, I don't agree with that kind of argument. There's many different avenues that people could walk down that doesn't include compliance that could still allow him to see his children in many different ways, in many different avenues. And I think you should explore all of those options until there's not an option possible.
Flying to like fake vaccine cards and things like this.
Again, I'm not here to advocate any of that. I think advocating that is even a felony under the FBI.
I mean, there's human
rules.
Rights legal proceedings. He could get a lawyer. He could file lawsuits. He could say, I will not. The government can't mandate a medical procedure and take my kids from me.
Meet in another country, have a mediator come in and say, hey, okay, let's go meet in Egypt, or let's go meet in Turkey. Let's go meet somewhere nearby and establish that we're going to be doing this in some sort of way that doesn't infringe on my values and morals.
That assumes that he has a cooperative ex-wife. Yeah.
Okay, but there's if there's a will, there's a way.
But hold on, you bring up an ex-wife. Now we're talking about two civil parties and a government entity. So it's much different from an individual versus the government when there's a civil case between two individuals.
Sure. My point is that there's a spectrum and it's hard, and there's a decision to be made at some point, and the fact that the decision exists is a symptom of the problem. Not a contributor to the problem.
Well, it's actually there is something more simple. If everyone said no, there wouldn't be a problem. The problem is that people bend the knee, and that's it.
Right.
As soon as
if you're
comply,
if you're the 1% left resisting, you've got no one with you.
Right. And that's why I've always been the kind of person that says I would rather live in a van down by the river than compromise and know.
The only way this is ever going to end is if people stop complying. You cannot comply your way out of tyranny. I said this a couple of weeks ago. It's impossible. It's impossible because they're going to keep pushing it. They're going to keep asking for more and more.
The NBA has mandated boosters.
Oh, yeah.
The NBA has told all players, coaches, and referees that you have to have a booster shot if you got the Johnson & Johnson after 2 months and the Pfizer and Moderna after 6 months. Obviously, this was coming. We knew this was going to happen. And now the CDC has already said weeks ago they may change the definition of fully vaccinated. Of course they're going to. So it's only going to get worse. And you look at the inflation, you look at the food shortages, you look at the price of a turkey this year. It's insane. Doubled.
Yeah.
Doubled.
They're calling it meatflation. That's happening right now, not just
bacon's up
shrinkflation.
20%.
Yep.
So the people who said I got to prioritize feeding my kid, congratulations. By complying, you have taken the food out of their mouths.
Yep.
Short-term gains for long-term sacrifices. Sacrificing the future of your children because it's easier now. Look, You take a look at the long, hard road, and way off in the distance, you see paradise. And you take a look at the short trip over the bridge, and the bridge collapses, and you end up getting washed away. Sometimes people got to realize that life is not easy, life is not fair, and it takes hard work, and you have to face the challenges head on, because when you take the easy route, you make everything worse. Not always, but often.
Predominantly, especially. It's never easy. It's never an easy. Whenever you do something cheap, I think that's the way of describing this. It's going to come back and haunt you. And when more and more people comply, I mean, people complied in Israel. They just said, we'll do anything. We'll go along with the vaccine passports. We'll get vaccinated. Everything will be fine. The government said, well, no. Now you need a booster shot. Now you need a third shot. Now they're even talking about a fourth shot. So with him complying and saying, yes, I'll go by your rules. I'll go by the fourth shot.
Fourth shot's already official for immunocompromised. So the next
but not mandated a part of the official passport system, which they will be implementing very soon. And then the fifth shot, and then we're talking about what hepatitis shots or
University of Denver has already mandated flu shots.
Yeah, compliance tests.
My favorite was the Yahoo News story said NBA recommends boosters for all referees and everything, and then later on it said if you don't do it, you'll be subject to all the same restrictions. Blah blah blah. So it's a mandate.
There was a really cool guy from the NBA at the National Conservatism Conference. As a matter of fact, Isaac Judah, Orlando Magic, 6th pick overall. This is like big time player, right? And he came and sat on stage with Dave Rubin.
Whoa!
Yeah, dude. NBA, 6'11".
Look.
Isaac Judah.
Oh yeah.
Seeing people like Kyrie Irving, Aaron Rodgers, people who are willing to speak out and stand up for what they believe in. This is fantastic. Now, Aaron Rodgers apparently lied about his, immunization or whatever, and he should have spoken up and just been true and honest from the get-go. But I think when we start seeing celebrities and athletes speak out in defense of individual liberties, individual rights, that's a good thing. That's an amazing thing, and we need to encourage more of it.
It was amazing to see him at the conference, and I'll admit, I thought that the crowd was just a little too excited. The fact that there was like an African-American guy there.
Wait.
But that's every conservative conference these days. That's
They're like,
new.
there's a black guy, and he agrees with us on some things. Yes, we're not racist. I mean, that's the vibe, right? But that guy
I've not been to a conference like that.
That guy was super well spoken, very intelligent, and made his case very articulately.
Yeah. Well,
about
the media,
his natural immunity, etc.
Well, the media attacked him viciously because he wasn't going along, and he did a whole press conference where he addressed this entire matter and brought up points very eloquently and was talking about all the scientific issues that actually mattered. Everyone was like, I wish this guy was Dr. Fauci, because he explained scientific terms in such an easy, simple way that made a lot of people understand his position, and they stopped attacking him because of the way that he approached this situation without getting angry, without attacking, without yelling, without freaking out, and just said, okay, here, let me just explain myself calmly, rationally, and because of that, they stopped attacking him. He's still playing.
Something we've brought up a lot. There are a lot of celebrities that watch this show. They message me.
Definitely.
There's a lot of famous athletes, actors, musicians. Oh, yeah. And unfortunately, they always say the same thing, I won't speak up.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And I'm like, dude, you're who needs to speak up. You got 2 million followers.
Right. Make
a post. Look at Demi Lovato. She became an ambassador for Gaia. And now they're attacking her, saying she's like, it's a conspiracy website. And it's like, it's a yoga and holistic health forum or something. They're just... Anyone that tries to deviate from the control of the corporate establishment is smeared. Anybody.
Here's a question for you. I don't know the answer. Did George Washington pay the stamp tax?
I don't know.
No idea.
If the answer is yes, then all this stuff, we can just throw this whole argument in the trash.
Because he complied?
Because he complied. Because he waited until the right moment to make his move. Anybody out there? Did George Washington pay the stamp tax? Did Sam Adams pay the tea tax? Did they pay the tax on the tea before the Tea Party? Let's get this answer, because that could put this question to bed.
Yeah, but Jack, you're not making any moves.
What do you mean?
Well, the argument is like you just got to comply, and then go against.
1965, right? Dude, or 1765, right? Give me 9 years. Let's see.
9 years.
Or 11, actually.
The big difference is, though, is that communicating took months. So if you
took 11 years.
Well, if you were a rep in Virginia communicating with New York about revolutionary ideas,
Sure, it took a couple weeks to send a letter. Sure,
but so the actual conversation could be months unless you came down for a special meeting in Philadelphia or something.
I would love to know if any of our founding fathers, Thomas Jefferson, Hamilton, if any of those guys paid the stamp tax at any point in their life. Because if they did, let's talk about it.
Why don't we just Google it?
I just tried; it didn't come up.
Jack, you're just trying to justify compliance.
I haven't. It's
not going to work.
I haven't taken the vaccine. My kids haven't taken the vaccine. I don't know why everybody's giving me a effing hard time about having a conversation for people in America that are struggling with this issue. Well, I am not vaccinated. Everybody.
Well, Jack, I appreciate the conversation. I think it's an important one. I'm happy we were able to have one.
That's why I wasn't here last week, 2 weeks ago, when I got the call that Cass Castle was under, attack by the coronavirus. I was like, I'm not going because I don't have the vaccine.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, we didn't know for sure at the time.
I know, but Lydia was like, everybody's sick, dude.
Yeah, sorry.
And here's one of the problems with the testing mandate is we had 4 tests be negative. Right. And so we were like, tests cleared us, we're good. It's probably a cold. And then turns out,
Yeah.
So, a cursory glance at the Stamp Act just mentions that the colonists viewed it as a violation of their rights. They protested it, but as to whether or not they were paying it.
Good question.
So you're saying that with the Boston Tea Party, they should have, complied and not done anything.
What I'm saying.
Is that what you're saying?
What
Jack?
I'm saying is that there's a matrix to make decisions as to whether this action is going to have the desired outcome, or if it's only going to be deleterious to yourself or harmful to yourself. There's a lot to consider, and not everybody, even the most venerated people in our history, the people you would call patriots, the people that founded this country, I bet you they didn't resist every single moment of tyranny before they finally had enough. And actually, like, the things that they revolted over in some cases pale in comparison to the things that we're dealing with now. Yeah. But the point is I think that there is a matrix by which you can make these decisions that's probably different for each person. And it's just an interesting historical question.
I have an answer for you.
What?
Benjamin Franklin actually suggested the appointment of John Hughes as the agent for Pennsylvania to implement the stamp, to be a stamp distributor, not aware of the turmoil that the tax would create between American and British relations. To simplify, when the act was implemented, people had to actually engage with it before they understood it was bad and then reject it. So it seems like what happened was the government said, we're implementing this. A bunch of political leaders were like, okay. And then they started talking about it. And then over time, because communication was slower back then, people started protesting in the streets. For like 5 years, there were protests over this. So once people were impacted by it, understood the ramifications, they started rejecting it.
But did they pay the stamp tax in the meantime while they were protesting?
I think the fair during the protests, probably not. Probably what happened was, and again, this is speculation.
I know, totally. We should get a historian on here talking about this.
But what I can say is, initially they did pay it. And what likely happened is they gradually began not paying it as the protests expanded.
Right.
So as opposition grew, people said, I won't comply. But that is to say, that means people who want the vaccines and believe in the mandates, of course, will comply.
Yeah.
But that also means that people who protest it and oppose it would not comply.
Yeah. Interesting historical question. I'd love to dig deeper on that.
Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to watch live, you can check out this channel Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Now, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, and if you want more unfiltered and uncensored content with all of these guests, go to timcast.com and become a member. All of these guests you know and love in exclusive segments on our website where we are unrestricted in what we talk about, so you'll definitely not want to miss it. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all next time.